Good evening, CAN TV viewers. Thank you for tuning in to the Doty Report on Comprehensive Health. My name is Yolanda Givens, and I am your host. This segment is supported, sponsored, initiated by the Georgia Doty Comprehensive Health Organization, an organization that has been bridging the gap on health disparities in the community for over 20 years. Just want to give a shout out, as always, to the president and CEO, Mr. Don Doty, who is a veteran. And as you can see, I got my Army color on today because, yesterday we observed Veterans Day. I believe Veterans Day is actually... Right. We observed Veterans Day. So in honor of all of our veterans and how we are so grateful for them serving our country and helping us to remain a free country, and keeping us safe, we decided to make this show about veterans. And so we're going to be talking about veteran service. I look like an Army girl. I know. Look like an Army girl. So please, as you know, we welcome calls. Please call in with any questions and any comments. Definitely call in if you just want to show some honor to our veterans. So time goes by fast. Let's get this started. We have two phenomenal guests. Both are veterans. Both served our country, and we are very, very grateful to them. I'm going to introduce them, then we're going to get this conversation started. Right next to me, I have Commander Frank Thompson, who served in the Navy for 14 years. He's currently a part of the American Legion, right?
Yes,
right,
correct.
Right, and we're gonna get into that a little bit. And he is very involved in supporting and helping veterans. So he's continuously giving back.
Boots on the ground.
Right. Okay. Giving back to the community and being a blessing to other people. And then next to him we have the Albert Alexander.
Oh.
Served for 12 years in the Army.
Correct.
Right? Mm-hmm. And he is the founder and director of a nonprofit organization called A Special Place for Veterans. Thank you both so much
thank you
for being here. So I'm gonna start the conversation and just asking. First, let me ask Albert about your organization, A Special Place for Veterans. Like, what is it? And what's the mission of the organization?
Well, our core mission for A Special Place for Veterans is to buy land and build communities for veterans and our family members.
Okay.
And prior to getting out, I was getting out on medical discharge, and I was a non-commissioned officer, and that means we were a backbone of the military, of the Army. So I was trying to figure out a way our veterans could still continue to be the backbone of our nation. But in order to serve like we really want to, we had to take care of some things like our housing, families, and things of that nature, leaving something. But almost as if we were like going to war, we had to have a place to stay on base.
Okay.
So we're pretty much doing that same thing out of the military, but collectively with our own selves.
Okay.
So we wanted to make sure that we were able to leave our families behind and something behind if we go. A lot of our veteran benefits, they die when we die, so we wanted to not let our families suffer any more so than they have while we were here.
Okay.
So that's what that is. We're pretty much building an alternative to life, so that legacy that we want to build, and we only use 21 million veterans and I think about 30 million active duty to contribute to this.
Okay. And you founded this organization when? How long?
When I got out, about 10 years now. We've been working on that. Right.
Okay.
I've been doing a lot of things to self-sustainment, and so now we're about ready to go to get it launched and move forward with this thing.
Okay. So that is let me make sure, a special place for veterans. The website really quickly. You guys can find Mr. Ab more information about the organization here at a special place for veterans.org. And we're going to be talking to him a little bit more. So, Commander.
Yes, ma'am.
What does that mean, Commander? And tell us a little bit about the American Legion and what the organization is doing for veterans.
Okay, Commander first. I'm the commander of the Harold Washington American Legion Post 1987. The reason it's called 1987 was the year he died.
Okay.
Harold Washington Post was started in March of 1995. And I became a member of that in 2000. and 7 I became a junior vice commander. In 2010 I became a commander of that post. 2011, and just recently this year in July, I was voted to be the commander of the 3rd District. 3rd District consists of from south of Harrison to Hazel Crest, from Cicero to the Indiana State border.
Okay, okay.
Congratulations.
Okay, and what is the organization doing, or what are you doing to support veterans?
It's a lot of things.
Okay.
A lot of things. So many things we don't even have time for, but I'm going to try to summarize it for you. We have veterans get their upgrade their discharges. If they're having problem with their benefits and everything like that, we help them also with that. Which we have lawyers, which we call service officers in the American Legion. And we help the homeless try to find homes.
Okay.
Get them situated first. You can't just jump up because you're homeless to get a home, but you know, there's processes that you have to go through, transitions and stuff like that. Different, people call them halfway houses, but transitional homes and stuff like that. And then we also, just like people, you know, when it come down to disaster, everybody look for the Red Cross. But see, they fail to realize that the American Legion is there also.
Oh,
because
that's
we
good
have
to
American
know.
Legion posts all over the United States and other foreign countries and stuff. Because for one thing, like per se, Florida, Georgia, and whatever states, southern states, well, we have posts in those states. So if they're affected, well, then that affects all of us. So we have to do just like the American Red Cross. We have to send troops down there, and support down there. So that's what we do. And then not only that, for we have women officers.
Okay.
And last year was the first female national officer. And American Legion is 99 years old and will turn 100 years old next year in 2019. It started in March of 1919, right after World War I.
Okay. Okay, if you are tuning in, just tuning in, this is the Doty Report on comprehensive health. Veterans is definitely a target population that the organization supports and educate and always looking for resources for. So we have 2 veterans that left the service and they're still giving back. So we're talking about some of those services. So I want to ask a question. And again, viewers, please feel free to call in. Help me understand, you know, veterans, because I think in our mind, you serve your country, you get skills, you have these resources, but we know that there's a huge veteran population that is homeless and struggling to get adequate health care. Why though? Like I can't connect to what's the reason behind that.
May I say something?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay.
I had to wait.
Well, one thing I did read in a book, it was about a veteran entrepreneur, it's almost like their rag to riches story. And one man explained something like this. He said, if you are a good upstanding citizen, you are a sheep. If you are a violent individual, you are a wolf. But if you're peaceful enough to deal with the sheep and violent enough to deal with the wolf, you're a sheepdog.
Okay.
And that's what the veteran is, coming out the military, living among the sheep.
Okay.
Totally 2 different species altogether, mindsets, all that kind of stuff. And so this is my own personal conclusion is that I can't tell you how many people, veterans I know, that actually attain jobs or things of that nature, but they come back with stories with saying that because we're first in, first out mentality, last out mentality, some people feel we're trying to show them up, you're doing better than us, they get a lot of negative talk and feedback and have a hard time at work, even though they may have achieved it. So we know we can't train a civilian and you can't untrain a veteran.
Okay.
So we live in that concept like oil and water. It's almost never going to go away. And the only people that can adjust are the veteran. And with that mentality is what I actually feel, why I did a special place for veterans.
Okay.
So, but like I said, my personal conclusion is that maybe the civilians will feel, well, we'll throw some money in a nonprofit and not hire them, but we did this. And so that's what I think is happening, but it's not enough, obviously.
Right.
You know, so.
Right.
And not only that, you know, okay, my perspective, when we go into the service, we are trained to do certain things. And when we come out, there's no jobs for us, for certain training and stuff. Just per se, just like whether the Army, Navy, Marines, Air Force, or Coast Guard, you're in medical. While you're in there, when you come out, well, you have to find something else to do because they won't hire you at the VA because they fill with capacity. Then if you look for it on the outside, private sector, that's kind of hard because that's kind of filled. And then they're always asking about, what about us?
Okay.
And then that means for the rest of us veterans, male or female, we got to substitute something else for what we know of.
Right.
And then that means not only sometimes it's hard for a veteran to get out of war and jump back into school.
Okay.
See, this is a whole lot of things that we as veterans have to go through because it's not easy to come home. You have a caller.
Okay. Hey, we have a caller. Caller, are you there? Are you there, caller?
Yes, ma'am.
You have a question?
Yes, I'd like to have them discuss the hepatitis C that's affected a lot of the senior veterans during the Vietnam era, where the vaccine machine or the vaccines we were given were infected. And it doesn't seem that there's a lot of awareness within that population to have all veterans get tested for hepatitis C. Can you address that health subject? Thank you.
Okay, really, they said hepatitis C started from the 50s babies, as they call it, the baby boomers. But see, now when you talk about the war situations, especially Vietnam, well, see, then I also consider with that, you have Agent Orange, which they don't talk about too much. Because if you was in the Army, Marines, or Air Force, see, they have people on the ground. And see, by them spraying, call themselves spraying for the enemy, well, they're in that canopy. So they don't know just what's what. But see, when they come back home, they don't know what's really bothering them until it's discovered. And then the government is not going to officially tell you that you have this.
Okay.
That's one of the reasons that not just American Legion, but my other organizations is fighting for it, because see, the idea to identify Agent Orange and what Agent Orange does. Agent Orange does a lot of things. Affect your kidney, your insides, lung cancer, and everything. So this is a whole lot of things that people have to look into. If you was over in Korea or in the West Pac, anywhere in the West Pac, Okinawa, something like that, you may be affected. But see, the idea, you have to go to a facility and really find out about your situation.
Okay, so he brought up a good topic to roll into about resources for veterans. What healthcare? Everybody hear about the VA, and what healthcare resources are available to veterans, those that came out or served many years ago, and even coming out currently.
Well, I want to mention as far as the Vietnam era, obviously I'm too young for that. But from my perspective now, the age, and when I listen to people his age that may have these things, or even my age, one of the things I believe is the problem is, the way I put it is, you'll tell me about the iPhone, but you won't tell me about the resources that I can have to help me with medical or housing or anything that we may need, because the resources are out there, obviously, because some people are getting help. I found some and got my help coming out of my homeless situation.
Right.
But it wasn't readily available. Like, as soon as you come out, this is what's available for you.
Okay.
You don't know that. So we went through terms of being homeless and got to go through all these hard times before we find out about it.
Okay.
And if you just don't happen to run across the right people, you probably would never know.
Okay, so let's educate the viewers. What resources are available, and how would a veteran find those resources?
Okay, for one thing, that's my point. That's easy. A veteran could go to any facility such as Jesse Brown, or you could go to Hines, or you could go to the Gresham on 77th and House there.
Okay.
And they have people there with all the information that you may need to know about upgrading your situation with your DD-214 and about your benefits and stuff like that, and you go to Hines or Jesse Brown, they have a table that's sitting in the back they call Strike Force.
Okay.
These people would tell you anything and everything that you need to know about about the things that you need to take care of, how to go by doing this, who to go see. If the VA can't do it, then have outside help that would do it, like Cook County Commissioner of Veterans Affairs and stuff. It's a long list. But see, in order for a person to come there, they have to come there and find out for themselves. You can't just sit on a couch and procrastinate and stuff like that. You got to get out there and search, because see, the idea, just like what we do, we provide the veterans with all kind of information as possible. But see, if a veteran just like watching this show, if they don't watch this show, how would they know?
Right. So definitely more education needs to be out
And
there.
marketing on it so people can see it ready, available.
Okay.
Right.
So, and that's why actually where I came in. It also, when I found out things, I took a list of things and I shared them with the people, the veterans I knew, and ensured that they shared them. A lot of times, word of mouth is the best way. A lot of veterans not going to watch TV. They're not going to see the internet. They're not going to know all these different sources.
And
What
some
they
of them
see.
don't even have TV.
So you still got to do what I would call maybe the old-fashioned way of not just knocking on doors, but person to person.
Right.
Talking to them and getting remotivated. Some of them
Street
just aren't
outreach.
motivated because they feel like what to use. I ain't gonna get nothing. And that's one of the other things you have to go up against. And I personally talk to them. Hey man, no, you do this. Go ahead and do that, and get some of them out to motivate. They need that extra push. And that's the role I've been playing with some of the ones I've seen, young and older. Have the same inspirational problem. So that's why I've come in and talked to them.
Okay.
And may I say this? And what promote all this lack of, I guess, being able to find out things and having to fight for certain things. I believe we shouldn't have to fight for them because we do. I've always said that why don't we just come together and resolve issues ourselves, because we can do that. And that's another aspect of a special place of veterans does.
Okay.
It don't matter if it's just housing. We have people with jobs or medical. We cover all of that in the land that we buying, and all the veterans will be in one place, and everybody can come and market to them with all the medical needs, all the things that are available to them. And so that's one thing I want to do. I might not know every single thing like what he do in all the aspects, but I know I can get people together.
Okay.
And say, hey, they're over here. Let's talk to them right here and make it
Okay.
easy to get to.
Okay.
And see, another thing that I'm going to piggyback off you, another thing about Cook County itself, out the whole United States, Cook County has the most veterans in one place. But yet we get less than the people
resources.
outside Cook County.
Really?
Yes, because you go to DuPage, I'm just naming them. DuPage, Will County, or per se, whatever. But see, they veterans get even with if it costs about the money and stuff. They get more. They have more benefits and stuff.
Okay.
They have more like outreach programs and stuff. But when you come back here to the city, and this is a stronghold. That's why everybody run up to Jesse Brown or Hines and everything for facilities and stuff like that. And then another thing about when you try to go talk to the veterans, it's a hard situation because see, even word by mouth, it's not enough because see that I didn't heard my partner Will said that the VA experimenting on you and all like that. But see, all of that's not true because how can you get help unless you find out yourself?
Okay.
You can lead a horse to water, but you can't make them drink it.
Right. So it sounds like, and if you just tuned in, this is the Doty Report on comprehensive health, and we are talking to two veterans that have served our country and now giving back and trying to be a help to other veterans and just the community overall. So it sounds like I'm hearing say there are resources,
There's plenty of
but there needs to
resources
be
out
more advocacy and education and street outreach, and
All
but
that.
there are definitely resources that are available to
There are.
veterans. It's just a lack of knowing or being able to access them.
And one thing I've done too, when I found out, because I do live for our organization and I meet all kinds of people. So what I do is try to get it on each other's platform, marketing
Stop for a
platform.
minute. We have another caller. Caller, are you there?
Yes.
You have another question?
Yes. I'd like to ask if Mrs. if Yolanda could kind of share with us the resources that the Doty organization provides and some of the resources and awareness and information that's trying to get out into the public to educate the veterans and the public about the resources that are available. Can you kind of share with us something information around regarding the Doty organization?
Mr. Doty.
Yes. So the Georgia Doty Comprehensive Health Organization definitely supports and provides services to veterans through health forums, job fairs, trying to bring in all the resources that our two veterans here have talked about into one place and bringing the veterans there. We had our last Veterans Forum in April of this year. We have actually, let me share. We have coming up on November 28th, we have a breast and prostate cancer forum where there will be tons of information and resources for not just for seniors and regular citizens, but tons of resources for veterans. We'll have several veterans organizations there to provide information. The forum is November 28th, 2018. Is being held at the Charles Hayes Center, and it is a free event. So mark your calendars and definitely go to the organization's website, georgiadotyinc.org, for more information about the programs and services that the organization provides, including helping veterans get housing, health care, employment, you name it. The Georgia Doty organization is doing it, as well as these two guests right here. So in saying that, as we are getting close to a time, what can a person like me do? How can we volunteer, or how can we help our veterans?
You and me.
Go ahead.
In many ways. For one thing, you're doing it now without you really knowing it, because see, just as she said, communication is the main thing that people need to
Absolutely
get out there. Because see, I would not know anything without listening, hearing, or seeing. And then when I do have these sources, I still have to pay attention to it, so that way I know just what I'm looking for, how to look for, and what to observe from it. And again, like if you're not too sure, as they say, it's different kind of situations that veterans go through. So it's up to the individual, male or female, go to the nearest facility. If you're not getting any benefits and you got pain and stuff like that, go into the hospital and get checked out, and that'll start your paperwork.
Right.
Because see, no veteran should be homeless.
Right.
But see, I found out, and that's for real, that some would love to be homeless.
Wow. So what's your final words, Albert?
Well, I would say on the medical side, he covered it, but on the job side, let's not make it hard for each other. If just hire the veteran, don't care too much about the bottom line in time, train the veteran, give them high salary jobs.
Okay.
And I know for sure I've hooked up, definitely, they got a new apprenticeship for robotics training right now. You can call it and get there. There's a veteran-owned trucking company called TMC. They train you as well. And there's another organization called Code. They teach you coding, and they help get funding to get you training for coding. All those are high-paying jobs. If you want to know more about it, you can come through the Doty Report or go through our organization. We'll get you there. But that's the kind of work I have been doing for our organization. So with the medical side and the job side, just hire them. Don't worry about trying not to training them and all the time and gap it. Because I've known some jobs, they will go 3 years with an empty slot instead of taking the time 6 months to train a person.
Right.
Okay.
Because they say, well, it's time convected. Well, how much time are you wasting not having that slot filled at all?
Right.
And then if you hire a vet, you get tax incentives.
Okay.
People don't realize that, because of the idea, you still giving back.
Okay.
And if I had a company or something like that, naturally, if I'm thinking smart and about the way this society going, I will hire a vet.
Right.
That way my company still be going, and I'll be getting incentives.
And on that tax incentive, they could put that in the veteran's salary to raise their salary up. They don't have to take it all.
Okay.
They can put that in their salary, but they give them because it's free money to them, and they wouldn't have it if it wasn't for the veterans. So give the veterans some of it in their salary. That way, you can afford to give them a higher salary. They want to stay, and all that kind of stuff. So you have longevity.
Okay. So you heard it. We're about to wrap up. That there are definitely resources for our veteran, from healthcare to housing to unemployment. The citizens, the community, have to help educate and become educated and inspire and empower and encourage our veterans to go seek out those resources. There's plenty of opportunities to volunteer with all of these organizations. Again, the Georgia Doty Comprehensive Health Organization is having an event on November 28th. For more information, you can call 312-738-1060. Again, it's November 28th. It's being held at the Charles Hayes Center on 48th and Wabash.
Yes.
48th and Wabash. I'll be there. He'll be there. Will you be there?
I try to.
I think he gonna be there. We gonna get him to be there too. We will all be there, and you can also go to GeorgiaDotyInc.org for more information about the services and programs and forms that the organization provide. I've been giving people my Facebook.com/Yolanda Givens because I am always doing a follow-up to all the shows. I do know some companies that have some opportunities for veterans, so I'll be sure to post that on my personal Facebook page as well as Georgia Doty Facebook page. We thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for serving our country, and thank you for continuously giving back and making me feel like an Army girl in my Army color today. We will be back next Tuesday at same time, 7:30, and we will see you then. Have a great rest of the week.
Cool.